You stole my wallet. I saw you take it.
The wallet was full of cash. Anyone else would have kept it, but she didn't. She walked straight up to him and handed it back. And that's when everything went wrong. Dorothy Bennett stood in the busy farmer's market, 72 years old, holding a black leather wallet. She'd found it on the ground near the vegetable stand, between the tomatoes and the crowd. At first, she almost walked past it, but something made her stop, pick it up, and when she opened it, her breath caught. Cash, lots of it, $20 bills, 50s, even some hundreds. Dorothy counted quickly, $2,800, more money than she'd seen in years. For a moment, just a moment, she thought about what that money could do. The rent she was behind on, the medical bills piling up, the electricity bill that was overdue. But then she closed the wallet and looked for identification. Inside was a driver's license, Richard Sterling, 45 years old, professional photo, expensive looking. Dorothy looked up, scanned the crowd, and there he was, 30 feet away, tall, well-dressed, expensive suit, talking on his phone, looking irritated about something. Dorothy walked toward him, slowly, her worn shoes clicking on the pavement. She tapped his shoulder. "Excuse me?" Richard turned, looked at her, took in her appearance in one dismissive glance. Worn coat, old shoes, gray hair. He didn't smile. "Yes? I think this is yours." Dorothy held out the wallet. "I found it over by the vegetables." Richard's eyes went to the wallet, then back to her. Something in his expression changed. Not gratitude, suspicion. He snatched the wallet from her hand. "Where exactly did you find this?" "On the ground by the tomato stand. I saw the ID and—" "Did you open it?" Dorothy hesitated. "I had to find your name." Richard's jaw tightened. He opened the wallet, started counting, right there in front of her, in front of everyone. His fingers moved quickly through the bills. 20, 40, 60. People started noticing, stopping, watching. Dorothy felt her face flush. "Is something wrong?" she asked quietly. Richard looked up, his face hard. "How much money did you take?" Dorothy's heart stopped. "What? Don't play dumb. How much money did you take from this wallet?" "I didn't take anything. There's supposed to be $3,000 in here." Richard's voice was rising now, drawing more attention. "And there's only $2,800. Dorothy shook her head. "I didn't touch any money. I just wanted to return." "You expect me to believe that?" Richard stepped closer. "You found a wallet full of cash and didn't take anything? Really?" "I'm telling the truth." "Then where's my $200? The crowd was growing. 20 people, then 30. Phones came out. Someone started filming. Dorothy felt trapped, humiliated. She'd done the right thing, and now she was being accused in front of everyone. "Sir, I promise you I didn't take any money." "You promise?" The word of a... He stopped, but Dorothy knew what he was thinking. The word of someone who looks like you. Someone old, poor, desperate. Richard turned to the crowd. "This woman found my wallet and stole $200 from it." Gasps, whispers. Dorothy felt tears building, but she refused to cry. "I didn't steal anything," she said, louder now, firmer. "I found your wallet and returned it exactly as I found it." "Then explain where the money went." "I can't explain what I don't know about." Richard pulled out his phone. "I'm calling the police." "Please do," Dorothy said. Her voice shook, but she stood straight. "I have nothing to hide." The crowd murmured. Some people looked sympathetic to Dorothy, others suspicious. A woman in the crowd spoke up. "Maybe you miscounted," she said to Richard. "Maybe you didn't have $3,000 to begin with." Richard shot her a look. "I know how much money I had. I withdrew it from the bank this morning. $3,000, cash." He held up the wallet. "And now there's only $2,800. You do the math." More whispers. The crowd was turning against Dorothy. An elderly woman accused of theft in public by a man in an expensive suit. Who would believe? Dorothy wanted to run, to disappear, but she couldn't because she'd done nothing wrong. "Check your wallet," Dorothy said quietly. Check everything in it. Maybe there's something you're forgetting. I'm not forgetting anything. Just check." Richard sighed, annoyed, but he opened the wallet wider, went through the compartments, credit cards, business cards, a few receipts. He pulled out the receipts, started to throw them away, but Dorothy stopped him. "Wait, what do those say?" "They're just receipts. Read them." Something in Dorothy's voice made Richard pause. He unfolded the first receipt from a coffee shop, $8.50, this morning. He crumpled it, reached for the second receipt. This one was from a clothing store. Timestamp 11:47 a.m. Today. Amount $185. Richard stayed still. The crowd leaned in. "What does it say?" someone asked. Richard's face was changing, color draining. He looked at the receipt, then at Dorothy, then at the crowd. "It's a purchase I made this morning." "For how much?" Dorothy asked, gently. Richard's voice was barely a whisper. $185. The crowd went silent. Dorothy nodded. "Add the coffee. That's $193.50. She paused. "You withdrew $3,000 this morning. You spent almost $200 before you lost your wallet. That's why there's only $2,800 left." Richard stared at the receipt, at the wallet, at Dorothy, the truth settling over him like a weight. He'd accused her, publicly, loudly, in front of dozens of people, and he'd been wrong, completely wrong. By the way, where are you watching this from? Drop your city in the comments. I love knowing where these stories reach. The crowd started murmuring. Some people were angry now, at Richard. "You accused her of stealing. She returned your wallet and you called her a thief. You should apologize." But Richard just stood there, frozen. Dorothy could have gloated, could have demanded an apology, could have made him feel as small as he'd made her feel. Instead, she spoke quietly. "It's okay. People make mistakes." Richard's head snapped up. "It's not okay. He struggled for words. "I'm sorry. I was wrong. You should have said thank you," Dorothy finished. "That's all." She started to turn away, but a voice from the crowd stopped her. "Miss Bennett?" Dorothy turned. The face was familiar, but she couldn't place it. "I'm sorry, do I know you?" The woman smiled, sad and grateful at once. "I was your third-grade teacher 22 years ago, Emily Richards. Well, Emily Sterling now." She glanced at Richard. "I'm his daughter." The crowd went dead silent. Dorothy's eyes widened. "Emily? Little Emily?" "Not so little anymore." Emily looked at her father, then at Dorothy. "Dad, do you know who this is?" Richard shook his head. She's the woman who saved our family." Emily's voice was shaking. "When I was 8 years old, my mother got sick. Cancer. We almost lost everything. The medical bills were destroying us." She turned back to Dorothy. "Miss Bennett started a fundraiser at school for our family, even though she barely knew us, even though she didn't have to." Dorothy remembered. The little girl with the sad eyes, the family struggling, the collection jar on her desk. "I raised $300, Dorothy said softly, "from the other teachers, students, parents." "You raised hope," Emily said. "You gave us hope when we had none. My mother survived, in part because we could afford her treatment, because of you." Emily looked at her father. "And you just accused her of being a thief." Richard's face crumbled. He looked at Dorothy, really looked at her. "You helped my family? It was a long time ago. You saved my wife's life. You helped my daughter, and He couldn't finish. "You accused me of stealing," Dorothy finished, gently. "Yes," Richard's voice broke. "I'm so sorry. You were upset. You thought you lost money. I understand. That's not an excuse. Maybe not, but it's human." Dorothy looked at Emily. "How is your mother?" "She's been cancer-free for 18 years, thanks to you." Emily stepped forward, hugged Dorothy. The crowd watched. Some people were crying. Richard pulled out his wallet. "Please, let me give you something, as thanks, as an apology." "No," Dorothy's voice was firm. "I didn't return your wallet for a reward. I returned it because it wasn't mine." She looked around at the crowd, at the phones still recording. "That's the only reason anyone should ever need." She started to walk away. Richard called after her. "Wait, please, let me do something, anything." Dorothy turned back. "You want to do something?" "Yes, anything. Be kinder to the next person who tries to help you." She smiled, small and sad. "That's all." And she walked away through the crowd, which parted for her with respect. The video went viral by evening. Woman returns wallet, gets accused of theft, and handles it with grace. 10 million views, 20 million, 50 million. Comments flooded in. "She deserves everything. This is true character. The old woman is a saint. That man should be ashamed." Richard Sterling saw the video, read every comment, each one like a knife. He'd been wrong, and the whole world knew it. "What time is it where you are? Morning? Night? Let me know in the comments." The next day, Richard found Dorothy. It wasn't
hard. Emily knew where she lived. A small apartment on the edge of town. Run-down building. Peeling paint. Richard knocked. Dorothy opened the door, surprised. "Mr. Sterling? Please, call me Richard." He held out an envelope. "I know you said you didn't want anything, but please, just open it." Dorothy hesitated, then took the envelope. Inside was a check for $50,000. Dorothy's hands shook. "I can't accept this. Please, it's not a reward. It's..." Richard's voice broke. "It's what I should have given you 22 years ago, when you helped my family, when you saved my wife. That was just a teacher helping a student. It was more than that, and you know it." Richard stepped closer. "Emily told me everything. How you visited my wife in the hospital, how you brought meals to our house, how you tutored Emily for free when she fell behind because of the stress." He wiped his eyes. "You did all that on a teacher's salary, while barely making ends meet yourself, and I never knew, never thanked you, never repaid you. I didn't need repayment, but you deserved it." Richard gestured to the envelope. "This is 22 years late, but please, take it. Let me fix one tiny piece of what I broke yesterday." Dorothy looked at the check. $50,000. It would change everything. Pay her rent, her medical bills, give her security. But she shook her head. "I can't." "Why not?" "Because that's not why I helped your family. It's not why I returned your wallet." Dorothy handed the envelope back. "I did those things because they were right, not because I expected anything back." Richard stared at her. "How? How what? How are you this good, this honest, this..." He struggled for the word. "Incorruptible?" Dorothy smiled. "I'm not special, I'm just old-fashioned. I was raised to believe that character is what you do when no one's watching, when there's no reward, when it costs you something. But surely you need..." He gestured to her apartment, the worn furniture, the struggling existence. "Of course I need money, everyone does." Dorothy's voice was gentle. "But I don't need it more than I need to look at myself in the mirror every morning." She touched the envelope. "If I took this, I'd always wonder, did I help your family for the right reasons, or because I hoped it would pay off someday? That's insane. Maybe, but it's how I sleep at night." Richard looked at her. This woman living in poverty, refusing $50,000, choosing principle over comfort. "I don't understand you," he said quietly, "but I admire you more than anyone I've ever met." Dorothy laughed, soft and kind. "You don't need to admire me, you just need to learn from me." "What lesson?" "That doing the right thing is its own reward. Everything else is just noise." Richard left that day without convincing her to take the money, but he didn't give up. Over the next month, Richard researched Dorothy, found out everything. She was a retired teacher, living on $1,100 a month Social Security, behind on rent, medical bills from a surgery last year, car that barely ran. She volunteered at the library twice a week, visited elderly neighbors who had no family, donated $10 every month to the local food bank, despite having almost nothing herself. Richard called Emily. "We need to help her." "She won't accept help, Dad, you know that." "Then we don't ask permission." 2 weeks later, Dorothy received a letter from her landlord. The building had been purchased by a new owner. Effective immediately, her rent was reduced to $400 a month, retroactive for the past year, which meant the back rent she owed cleared. Dorothy called the landlord. "Who bought the building?" "Anonymous buyer through an LLC. I don't have a name. Dorothy suspected, but she couldn't prove it. The next week, she received a call from the hospital. Her medical bills, $4,800 outstanding, had been paid in full. Anonymous donor, again. Dorothy called Richard. "Did you do this?" "Do what?" "You know what." Richard was quiet. Then, "I don't know what you're talking about, but hypothetically, if someone wanted to help you without asking permission, would that be so bad? Is it dishonest? Or is it just someone doing the right thing, even when you're not watching?" Dorothy went silent, realizing he was using her own words against her. "That's different," she said. "Is it?" Richard's voice was gentle. "You helped my family anonymously, through fundraisers, through gifts we never knew came from you. Why is it okay for you, but not for me?" Dorothy didn't have an answer, because he was right. "Character is what you do when no one's watching," Richard said. "That's what you taught me. Well, I learned, and now I'm doing what you did, helping someone who won't accept help directly." Dorothy felt tears building. "Thank you," she whispered. "Don't thank me. Thank yourself for being the kind of person worth helping." They stayed in touch after that. Richard and Emily would visit, bring groceries, fix things around Dorothy's apartment, not as charity, but as family. Emily's mother, Carol, recovered and cancer-free for 19 years now, came to visit. "You saved my life and my family, and now my husband is trying to save yours. I don't need saving. Everyone needs saving sometimes," Carol smiled. "Even heroes." 3 years after the wallet incident, Dorothy turned 75. Richard threw her a birthday party at his house, invited everyone, her former students, colleagues, friends, neighbors. Over 100 people came to celebrate the woman who'd spent her life helping others. During the party, Richard stood to make a toast. "3 years ago, I made the worst mistake of my life. I accused this woman of being a thief, in public, in front of cameras, in front of the world." He looked at Dorothy. "She could have destroyed me, sued me, humiliated me. Instead, she forgave me, taught me, showed me what real character looks like." Richard raised his glass. "Dorothy Bennett is the most honest person I've ever met. She returned my wallet when she could have kept it. She refused my money when she desperately needed it. She chose principle over comfort every single time. And because of her, I'm a better person. My family is closer, and dozens of her former students are living better lives because she taught them not just math and reading, but integrity." The room applauded. Dorothy cried, happy tears. For the first time in years, she felt seen, valued, loved, not for what she did, but for who she was. After the party, Richard gave her one more gift, an envelope. Dorothy opened it. Inside was a letter, not a check, just words. "Dear Dorothy, you taught me that doing the right thing is its own reward, and you were right, but sometimes the right thing creates unexpected rewards. 22 years ago, you helped my family, not for recognition, not for repayment, just because it was right. Today, my wife is alive because of you. My daughter is successful because of you. I'm a better man because of you. That's the real reward, not money, not fame, but knowing that your kindness echoed across decades, creating ripples you never saw. You're not rich in money, but you're richer than anyone I know. Thank you for teaching me what real wealth looks like. Love, Richard." Dorothy folded the letter, put it in her pocket, right next to her heart, because that was a reward worth keeping. The lesson? Doing the right thing isn't always easy. Sometimes it's hard, costly, thankless. Dorothy could have kept that wallet. No one would have known. She could have taken the money Richard offered. No one would have judged her. But she didn't, because character isn't about what's easy. It's about what's right. And sometimes, just sometimes, doing the right thing comes back to you. Not in the way you expect, not when you want it, but when you need it most. Dorothy returned a wallet, got accused of theft, refused a reward, and gained a family. Not because she expected it, but because that's what goodness creates. Ripples that echo across time, changing lives, building connections, creating something beautiful from something simple.
like returning a wallet that wasn't yours. If this story moved you, share it, and remember, the next time you find something that isn't yours, return it. The next time someone accuses you wrongly, respond with grace. The next time you have a chance to do the right thing, take it, because you never know. That moment might echo for years, might change a life, might create a family. Dorothy Bennett found a wallet with $2,800 and returned every penny, not for thanks, not for reward, but because it was right. And because she did, a man learned humility, a family learned gratitude, and 100 former students learned that their teacher's lessons went far beyond the classroom. That's not just honest, that's legacy. Remember that, and be the person who returns the wallet, even when no one's watching, even when it costs you, even when you get accused instead of thanked, because that's how you build character. And character is the only thing you can take with you when everything else is gone.